Good Saturday morning, everyone. We are in for a cold night and cold Sunday morning across Central Florida. Hi, I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan with the latest forecast. So, we are expecting dangerous cold on the way. In fact, we haven't seen cold temperatures like this in roughly 16 years. So, this is rare. And of course, I'll get you through this forecast so you all can prepare accordingly as the colder air settles in through today. So there is an Arctic cold front that will be moving through as we go through the next several hours. Earlier this morning, we saw some scattered light showers over our southern counties. Northern counties were nice and dry, so most of the shower activities stayed well south of I-4. But when that cold front moves through, we are looking at strong winds beginning to develop across central Florida, where many of us will be dealing with gusts between 30 to 40 miles per hour, and it is possible 50-mile-per-hour wind gust, especially along our coastal zones. Now, that frigid air is expected to move in as we go through today, as that front moves through, and you'll know when it moves through. The winds are going to pick up, and it is going to feel cooler, and there are still a few models hinting at some snow flurries. We're not talking about the snow sticking to the surface, but it is possible, especially with some moisture moving in off the Gulf later on this evening, and then you have that colder air moving in as well. So that is a pretty good setup where we could see some snow flurries flying around, and that will be well west of I-4 near the I-75 corridor. Now, today's a weather alert day. So is tomorrow. And tomorrow morning, we could see record cold lows in the 20s. It'll be widespread. Many of us will be dealing with a rare hard freeze, and then highs not warming up much, staying in the 40s across the region. So, as we take a live look outside here, it is pretty cloudy, looks gloomy out there. We are dealing with some chilly temperatures, but nothing compared to what is heading our way. We're starting off at 56 in Kissimmee, that's right at the lakefront, Daytona Beach at 54, Port Canaveral at 57, and at the Orlando International Airport, also in the upper 50s. And believe it or not, we're actually seeing our daytime highs now. So many of us will see middle to upper 50s as we go through the rest of the morning, heading into the early afternoon hours, and then that colder air beginning to move in when that front has passed. I do want to show you the radar tracking a few light showers over parts of Osceola County, but things are beginning to wrap up. I do think most of the day will be dry, except for that lingering moisture moving in later on this evening. So we'll be watching out for that, also watching out for the chance for snow flurries. Now, for the month of January, today is the last day of January. Can't believe it. Tomorrow is already February, but we've had some pretty cold mornings, even as we kicked off January. We were in the 30s, and for this week alone, we were starting off in the 30s as well, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So even though it has been quite cold across central Florida, we are looking at a deep freeze as we head into tonight, and it looks like that colder air will stick around as we head into our Monday morning too, and many of us will be waking up below freezing for several hours. So because of that setup, we have numerous alerts in effect. This one here is the extreme cold warning, where the wind chill temperatures could get into the single digits in many locations. Most of the single digit feels like temperatures will be northwest of I-4. So we're talking about Marion County, Sumter County, even parts of Lake Flagler counties could be feeling like the single digits. And then other spots feeling like the teens. Nonetheless, it is still going to be a very cold start tomorrow, especially when you factor in those strong winds. The cold air, it is just going to feel like it's cutting right through you. And we also have a freeze warning in effect. And all of these warnings are in effect Sunday night or Saturday night tonight into Sunday afternoon. So this freeze warning means that a hard freeze is likely with temperatures as low as 20 degrees, and that is all for Central Florida. And there's also a wind advisory in effect. This is through today and expiring Sunday morning. You can see all of the counties are also highlighted where we could see strong northwesterly winds between 25 to 30 miles per hour, gusts between 40 to 50 miles per hour. So your current conditions, temperatures, it's chilly out there, but we're not cold yet. We're at 51 degrees in the Villages, 56 in Kissimmee, 57 in Orlando, 59 in Titusville, 56 in Melbourne, 55 in Palm Coast, and 49 degrees in Ocala. And as we go through today, your planning forecast, as I mentioned, temperatures will be steady in the upper 50s as we go through the next couple of hours or so. I do think after 3, we would begin to feel the colder air moving in. We're at 51 around 3, 50 around 4, and then those temperatures continuing to get even colder as we get into tonight and definitely during the overnight hours lasting into Sunday morning. So here are your highs. Forecast high for Orlando is 59, 62 in Mico and Melbourne, 60 in Cape Canaveral, 58 in the Villages, Wildwood a high of 57, and Ocala you all see a high of 55. Now, as I mentioned before, the winds are going to get strong across the area as we go through the 3-4 o'clock hour. This model here is showing a wind gust between 20 to 30 miles per hour. The winds will get even stronger as we head into the evening hours, potentially reaching 40 miles per hour in Kissimmee, Orlando, Melbourne, 42 miles per hour in Cocoa Beach, 34 in Daytona Beach, and 35 in the Villages. And again, in a few locations could reach 50, and I do think that would really be confined along our coastal areas. And notice the timestamp, we're later on tonight around 11. Now, winds will stay gusty as we go through the early morning hours on Sunday and still clocking in winds almost 30 miles per hour early Sunday morning around 5, 6 o'clock. And those winds still howling out of the northwest between 15 to 20 miles per hour heading into the late morning hours on Sunday. So it is going to be windy. But again, the colder air is the main story. So as we take a look at your clouds and rain forecast here, and I popped up the temperatures as well. So as we go through the 3 o'clock hours, temperatures will continue to get cooler. Notice it is pretty dry. We'll see some clearing. Closer to 7. Many of us here are now in the 30s, so it is getting even colder. Around 8, a little bit of moisture beginning to pop off of the Gulf here. I do want to go ahead and stop the clock so you can see what I'm talking about. So we'll go ahead to 8 o'clock there. A little bit of green is popping up, but we could see a little wintry mix, some snow flurries because that colder air is moving in. You have that moisture moving in from the Gulf. You have Gulf effect flurries, certainly possible. But around 8, temperatures are at freezing in Leesburg, the Villages, below freezing in Ocala. We're at 35 degrees in Orlando and the lower 40s out in Brevard County. Now, fast forward in things as we get closer to midnight here. Now we're in the 20s for a majority of the region, and then those temperatures staying in the 20s as we go about our early Sunday morning. So things will remain cold for several hours, and I'll show you how long those below freezing temperatures are expected to linger. Now, heading into your Sunday afternoon, it is still going to remain breezy. We'll see abundant sunshine, but it's still chilly. Notice everybody here in the 40s and staying in the 40s all day. So we're looking at a cold Sunday ahead. And as we take a look at how long those below freezing temperatures are going to linger, this is Coleman out in Sumter County. So those temperatures are expected to fall below freezing around 4 or 5 and then getting into the teens potentially during the overnight hours. So we're looking at 12 plus hours below freezing. Heading over to Daytona Beach and Volusia County, also looking at 12 plus hours below freezing as well, or 10 to 12 plus hours below freezing, excuse me, with those temperatures falling at 32 degrees around 10. Heading over to now Kissimmee, 8 to 10 hours below freezing is possible, starting off in the middle to upper 20s early Sunday morning. And then Leesburg and Lake County, temperatures will fall fast for you guys. Around 10 o'clock, we're just above freezing at 33 degrees, but then we're in the 20s as we go through the overnight hours, staying in the 20s as we wake up around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you are heading out early tomorrow morning, it is recommended to dress in layers, big coat, anything you need, some hat, gloves, scarves, things that we really don't own in Central Florida because it's very rare to get a cold like this, but you'll certainly need it tomorrow morning to stay warm. Now, Melbourne, temperatures are expected to fall below freezing between 6 to 8 hours. And then Ocala, very cold temperatures between 12 to 15 hours below freezing. And then as we head over to Orlando, we're looking at about 8 to 10 hours below freezing. Those freezing temperatures beginning around midnight. And then Sanford, also same deal. We're looking at below freezing temperatures closer to midnight and staying below freezing between 10 to 12 hours. So this is very dangerous. We're not used to, you know, temperatures falling below freezing for a long duration. And, we always tell you anytime it gets this cold, we'll have to, you know, use safety precautions. We always talk about the P's. It's very easy to remember. So, protecting people, pets, plants, and yes, pipes, because we'll be dealing with a hard freeze and this will be widespread. Now, we will be entering record territory not only Sunday morning, but as well as Monday morning. The record set back in 1936 on Sunday, or on the 1st of February, was 28 degrees. My forecast is 25, so we could potentially break that record. And then Monday morning, we're looking at 27 degrees. That's the forecast. And then the temperatures there historically at 32 degrees, we could break that as well back in 1980. So the last time we saw consecutive days in the 20s was back in 2010, and that was around Christmas time. So it's been a long time since we've been dealing with temperatures like that. And tracking the freeze and the frost, and you see a lot of that light blue showing up for all of the counties across the viewing area, meaning a hard freeze is likely. So, if you have tropical plants, a lot of the plants are dormant right now, but if you have any plants outside and they're still living and they're potted, bring them inside if you can so they can survive this quick cold snap. And if you can't bring them inside, cover them up the best you can. And pets, you want to make sure you're bringing the pets inside. It'll be way too cold for them. And if you can't bring them inside, I always say try to make a very warm shelter outside for them. Make sure they have some water, some food, anything to keep them comfortable. Check on your neighbors. This is very cold weather we'll be dealing with, and a lot of us are not used to that. So make sure we're checking on each other is very important. And then cover up your exterior pipes, spigots out there, cover them up. Steady drip faucets, not a bad idea. Run your pool pumps. If the temperatures are going to remain below freezing for several hours, the lingering water inside of the pipes could freeze and then it expands and it could cause cracked pipes. And, we don't want that. So just keep that in mind as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. Also, Sunday night into Sunday morning. So we are looking at 2 days where temperatures will remain below freezing as we go through the overnight hours. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast. So today's a weather alert day. We already saw the shower activity earlier this morning. We're looking drier. It is just going to turn colder and windy as we go through today. We'll see our daytime highs early in the upper 50s, lower 60s. The cold arrives tonight. We'll be starting off in the 20s across Central Florida early tomorrow morning, feeling like the teens and single digits, still windy. And we'll see a high of 47 Sunday afternoon. Monday morning will be another cold start, but not as cold. We're looking at 29 degrees as those wake up temperatures, 27 in a few locations, 28, but we'll see a high of 56. So if the kids are heading out to school early Monday morning, make sure they're dressing warm. And then things will be warming up. We'll be on a bit of a warming trend. We're looking at 64 on Tuesday, and then we're back in the 70s briefly Wednesday afternoon. We'll see a high of 72.